to tell us about these missing millions. Dominique, good evening. And thanks so much for your time. Very worrying, this story indeed. Tell us what your investigations have found. What alerted you to this in particular?
We first started investigating dubious disbursements of funds by the National Lottery Commission last year. And then we came, or at least it came to our attention, that there was a report that was drafted by Zipsifusion that was submitted to the National Lottery Commission, a progress report of sorts. And they claimed that they had done work at 8 schools in Limpopo, which would be in Venda and Polokwane. And then we decided to go and look for ourselves, because the amount of money, the 10 million, was supposed to actually be used at 10 schools. And their report only mentioned 8 schools. And right then and there we smelt a rat. And we decided to go and see for ourselves.
So who are the culprits? I mean, obviously, you would imagine, is it Zipsifusion? That's what it's called, yeah? But surely the lottery, the commission itself, should have been keeping tabs on this?
Not only that, they should have been giving the money to reputable service providers who were actually going to do the work. So the problem and the challenge begins at the NLC with the dispersing of funds. And then you would expect that if 10 million is given to anybody, you would then expect progress reports. You would actually go out and visit the sites and see for yourself if the money is doing what it is supposed to be doing. But they did not. And when they did receive the report that stated that only 8 schools had been worked on, they did not go out either.
I was just going to ask you, clarify for us whether those schools actually got done what was supposed to have been done at those schools.
Yuveka, when we got there in May, the money had been given to Zipsifusion at the end of last year, November last year. But when we got there in May, in the middle of May, we found that very little work had been done at 8 schools. And we visited the 8 schools that they had mentioned in their report. And the construction was at various stages of completion or incompletion, as a matter of fact, because some of the schools we went to, they were only beginning the work as we were there. And that's driven by the fact that the construction workers, we met them at the first school and they realized that we were there, and they went to the last school that we went to. And as we arrived, they were working at that school, and they disappeared while we were there, and the principal had no idea where they had disappeared to. So clearly something is not right with whatever is going on there if people are covering up their tracks.
So what do you do with this information? Who do you take this to? How do we hold all the people who are responsible for this accountable and get something done about it?
Up until now, we actually have had an engagement with the board of the National Lottery Commission, and we are going to take this to them. So the next step for us will be to meet with the National Lottery Commission and actually discuss this and find out from them how it is that this is possible. I mean, the conditions of the ablution facilities at these schools are appalling. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to actually look at our report.
Well, I've just got a sort of summary of it here, but we have an idea, knowing of all the tragedies that we've seen come out of the various provinces, especially the loss of life in children.
It's insane that in 2019, we still have children that fall into pit latrines and die in pit latrines, yet millions of rands are spent or given away to supposedly improve that situation, but it is not improving.
So this is one sort of, what are they, a company or an organization, Zipsifusion? What about others? Are you looking at others who get this kind of money?
We're looking at others as well, and a lot more that I cannot divulge at this point because we're still investigating, but there's a lot that we're uncovering. This is but the tip of the iceberg.
And the NLC has to take some responsibility for it, of course.
They need to take full responsibility, because that's where the wrongdoing begins, by them giving away this money and not monitoring where it goes.
Yeah. Okay, well, whether it's by, you know, default, or whether it is an intentional thing, giving to pals or whatever it is, I suppose we will wait for those answers. Thank you very much, and keep us updated on the rest of your investigations as well. Thank you very much. Dominic Msibi from OUTA. Just shocking indeed what their investigations have revealed.